My girlfriend said, "You can't be serious about this, right?" When I suggested couple therapy, I replied, "I am serious." She laughed. "Therapy is for broken people." I said, "Exactly." Then I handed her research on narcissistic personality disorder with her behaviors highlighted. When she realized I'd been documenting everything. Original post. I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend for 3 years. We've been living together for 2 of those years in an apartment I've been renting since before we met. Looking back, I should have seen the signs earlier, but love makes you stupid. Or maybe I just wanted to believe she'd change. It started small. Little comments that made me question my own memory. I never said that. You're remembering it wrong. Why are you always so sensitive? Classic stuff that I now recognize, but back then just made me feel like I was losing my mind. About 18 months ago, after a particularly bad argument where she convinced me I'd promised to cancel plans with my brother, I hadn't, I started keeping notes. Just for myself. Just to make sure I wasn't actually crazy. The notes turned into a journal. The journal turned into a documentation system. Dates, times, exact quotes when I could remember them, screenshots of texts, even a few audio recordings legal in my state with one-party consent, I checked. I also started reading. A lot. Books about emotional manipulation, articles about gaslighting, research papers on personality disorders. Not because I wanted to diagnose her, but because I needed to understand what was happening to me. One thing kept coming up over and over. Narcissistic personality disorder. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't diagnose anyone. But the behavioral patterns? They matched almost perfectly. The constant need for admiration. The lack of empathy. The way she'd rage when criticized, but expect me to accept her criticism without question. The way every conversation somehow became about her. The way she'd rewrite history to make herself the victim in every situation. I printed out research, highlighted the parts that matched her behavior, cross-referenced with my documentation. It took months, but I built a file, not to use against her, at least not initially. I did it because I needed to see it all laid out. I needed proof that I wasn't imagining things. Last month, I finally worked up the courage to suggest couple therapy. We were having dinner, takeout Thai, because she decided she was too exhausted to cook even though it was her night. I've been rehearsing how to bring it up for days. "Hey, I've been thinking," I said. "What would you say to us trying couples therapy?" She looked up from her phone. "You can't be serious about this, right?" "I am serious." She laughed. Not a kind laugh. That condescending laugh she does when she thinks I've said something stupid. Therapy is for broken people. I took a breath. Exactly. The laugh stopped. What's that supposed to mean? It means something is broken here. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's us. But something isn't working, and I think we need help figuring out what. Nothing is broken. You're the one who's always starting fights. You're the one who can't just be happy. Maybe if you stop being so negative all the time. I reached into my laptop bag beside the couch and pulled out the folder. 83 pages. Color-coded tabs. Professional binding, because if I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. What is that? I handed it to her. Research on narcissistic personality disorder. I've highlighted the behavioral patterns that match things you've done. There's also documentation. 18 months of it. She stared at the folder like it was a live snake. You've been documenting me? I've been documenting our relationship. Because every time I tried to talk to you about problems, you told me I was remembering things wrong. So I started keeping records. She opened the folder. I watched her face as she flipped through. The highlighted passages. The dated entries, the text message screenshots, the timeline of incidents. "This is insane," she whispered. Then louder, "This is insane. You've been spying on me. I've been protecting my sanity. There's a difference. You're the one who needs therapy. Normal people don't do this. Normal people don't get told they're crazy every time they try to have a conversation. Normal people don't get their memories rewritten. Normal people don't spend years walking on eggshells, trying not to set off their partner." She threw the folder at me. Pages scattered everywhere. "I'm not a narcissist. You're just trying to make me the bad guy, because you can't handle that you're the problem. I'm not saying you're a narcissist. I'm saying these patterns match, and I think we should see a professional who can help us figure out what's actually going on. No, absolutely not. I'm not going to sit in some office while you and some stranger gang up on me. Then we're done. That stopped her. What? If you won't work on this with me, then I can't stay. I've given you 3 years. I've bent myself into knots trying to make you happy. I've doubted my own memory, my own perception, my own sanity. I'm done doing that. You can't break up with me over this. Watch me. She stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I spent the night on the couch, which honestly wasn't unusual. But this time, I slept better than I had in months. Update 1, 4 days later. So, things have escalated. Big time. The morning after the folder incident, I woke up to her standing over me. She'd been up all night reading that garbage and had some thoughts. You manipulated everything in here, she said. You took things out of context. You twisted my words. This is defamation. Defamation requires publication to a third party. This is a private document. Don't lawyer speak me. I'm not lawyer speaking you. I'm telling you the legal definition of defamation, which this isn't. I could sue you. You could try. You'd lose, but you could try. She threw her coffee mug at the wall. First time she'd gotten physical with objects in my presence, though I'd suspected she'd been breaking things when I wasn't around. Nice to have confirmation, I guess. I want you out, she said. This is my apartment. My name is on the lease. I've been here for 5 years. You moved in 2 years ago. I pay rent. You pay $400 a month for groceries, which you insisted was fair because you make less than me. The actual rent is $1,850. So no, you don't pay rent. Her face went through several colors. I have rights. You can't just kick me out. I'm not kicking you out. You're welcome to stay. But I'm also welcome to break up with you, which I'm doing. Where am I supposed to go? That's really not my problem anymore. She called her mother. Her mother called me. That was a fun conversation. How dare you treat my daughter this way? Her mother started. She's given you 3 years of her life. Ma'am, with respect, your daughter has spent those 3 years making me feel like I'm losing my mind. I have documentation. Documentation? What kind of psycho documents their relationship? The kind who keeps getting told he's remembering things wrong. The kind who needs proof he's not crazy. You are crazy. My daughter is a wonderful, loving person. If you can't see that, you don't deserve her. Then I guess we agree on one thing. I hung up on her. I know that sounds harsh, but I dealt with enough manipulation for one lifetime. Her mother was just an older version of the same playbook. Over the next few days, my girlfriend oscillated between rage and tears. She'd scream at me for hours, then cry and beg me to reconsider, then scream again when I didn't cave. She tried a new tactic on day 3, seduction. Wore the outfit she knows I like, made dinner, lit candles, acted like nothing had happened. I've been thinking, she said sweetly. Maybe we could try that therapy thing. If it means that much to you. Okay, great. I found a therapist who specializes in relationship dynamics. She has an opening next Tuesday. Her smile flickered. Wait, you already made an appointment? You said you'd consider it. I wanted to be ready. I need to think about it more. What's there to think about? You just said you'd try. I said maybe. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not. You literally just said. See? This is what you do. You twist everything I say. And just like that, we were back to square one. I picked up my documentation folder from where I'd gathered the scatter pages and added a new entry. Are you seriously writing this down right now? Yep. You're sick. You know that. You're actually sick. Maybe. That's why I want us to see a professional. She went silent after that. Didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. Honestly, it was peaceful. Update 2, 1 week later. The mutual friends have entered the chat. And by entered, I mean made my life significantly more complicated. Turns out my girlfriend has been telling everyone who'll listen that I've been psychologically abusing her by keeping files on her and try to diagnose her with mental illness. She's positioned herself as the victim of a controlling, obsessive partner who's been secretly documenting her every move. 3 different friends texted me variations of, dude, what the hell? I responded to each with the same message. I'd be happy to discuss this in person. I'll show you what I documented and why. Then you can make your own judgment. 2 of them took me up on it. 1 didn't respond. I show my buddy from college the folder first. He's known me for over a decade. Watched me go through relationships before. He spent about an hour reading through it. Bro, he said when he finished. This is a lot. I know. Like, some of this stuff is genuinely messed up. She really told you that you made up your grandmother's death to avoid her birthday dinner. Yep. My grandmother died 2 days before her birthday. I showed her the obituary. She said I probably planned it that way. He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Planned? Your grandmother's death? According to her, I probably stressed my grandmother out on purpose so she'd die at a convenient time. Her words, not mine. That's actually insane. Now you see why I started documenting. He left that conversation firmly on my side. Told me he'd set the record straight with anyone who asked. The second friend was her co-worker who I'd become friendly with at various work events. She was more skeptical going in, but when she saw the text message screenshots, particularly the ones where my girlfriend called me pathetic, worthless, and lucky anyone would even look at you, her expression changed. She wrote this to you last Christmas because I got her a necklace instead of bracelet. She told us you forgot to get her anything and only bought her something last minute after she cried. Check the date on the text. December 23rd. I gave her the gift on December 22nd. She left with a lot to think about. Haven't heard from her since, but she hasn't been participating in the group text calling me a monster, so I count that as a win. Meanwhile, my girlfriend was ramping up her exit strategy. She announced she was moving out, finally escaping your abuse, and that she'd be staying with her sister until she found her own place. Great, I said. When are you leaving? Saturday. Perfect. I'll make sure I'm here in case you need help carrying boxes. I don't need your help. Suit yourself. What she didn't mention was that she'd also been telling her family I'd been withholding her belongings. When her father showed up on Friday night, demanding I release her possessions, I was genuinely confused. Sir, all her stuff is exactly where she left it. Nothing's been touched. She says you locked up her clothes. Her clothes are in the bedroom closet. Same as always. The bedroom isn't locked. He pushed past me to check. Came back out looking embarrassed. She said, I know what she said. I'd suggest you start fact-checking her claims. He left without another word. I heard later through the grapevine that he'd had a long conversation with his daughter that didn't go well for her. Apparently, even her own family was starting to notice the pattern of her stories not matching reality. Saturday came. Her sister showed up with a rental truck. They packed for about 4 hours, making as much noise as possible. I stayed in the living room, watching TV, not engaging. Before she left, she came to stand in front of me. You're going to regret this, she said. You'll never find anyone as good as me. Probably not, I agreed. But I hope I find someone better. Her face contorted. For a second, I thought she might hit me. Instead, she grabbed her purse and stormed out. The door slammed, shook the walls. And just like that, 3 years of my life walked out the door. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes, just breathing. Then I got up, opened all the windows to air out the lingering scent of her perfume, and ordered a pizza. It was the first meal I'd enjoyed in months. Final update, 3 weeks after she moved out. So I thought that was the end of it. I really did. She was out, I was healing, life was moving forward. Then I got a letter from a lawyer. She was suing me for emotional distress and invasion of privacy. The lawsuit claimed that my documentation constituted illegal surveillance and that I had caused her severe psychological harm by compiling evidence to gaslight her into believing she had a mental disorder. I read that line 3 times. The irony was so thick you could choke on it. My first call was to my own lawyer. He reviewed the letter and started laughing. This is frivolous, he said. One-party consent recording is legal in your state. Written documentation of your own experiences isn't surveillance. And you never published any of this material. So what do? We respond. We countersue for attorney fees when this gets thrown out. And honestly, if she wants to pursue this, discovery is going to be very interesting for her. What do you mean? Discovery means she has to turn over all her communications about you. Texts, emails, social media messages, everything. If she's been defaming you to friends and family with false claims, that becomes evidence for a countersuit. I authorized him to proceed. The next few weeks were a flurry of legal paperwork. Her lawyer requested copies of my documentation, which I provided because I had nothing to hide. We requested copies of her communications about me. Her lawyer objected. The judge overruled. The communications were illuminating. Turns out, she'd been telling people I was abusive for a lot longer than I'd realized. There were texts to her sister from 18 months ago calling me controlling because I asked her to contribute to groceries. Messages to her mother claiming I was isolating her because I suggested she spend less time with friends who were clearly using her for rides. A group chat with coworkers where she described me as mentally unstable because I got upset when she forgot our anniversary. But here's the thing that actually helped me. Her own documentation. She kept notes too. Not systematically like mine, but sporadic complaints to friends that included dates and details. And those details? They contradicted her lawsuit entirely. In her texts, she bragged about playing him and getting me to pay for things. She laughed about how easy it was to make me apologize. She told her sister I was too stupid to realize she was manipulating me. Her own words, in writing, proved exactly what I'd been documenting. My lawyer compiled everything and filed a motion to dismiss with a request for sanctions against her attorney for pursuing a frivolous lawsuit. The judge granted both. The case was dismissed. Her attorney was ordered to pay my legal fees, about $4,200. And because her attorney was going to push those costs back onto her, she was looking at a bill she definitely couldn't afford. I heard through mutual friends that she tried to blame the lawyer for misleading her about the strength of her case. The lawyer, apparently, did not take kindly to that and dropped her as a client. Her mother called me one last time. "You've ruined my daughter's life." "Ma'am, your daughter ruined her own life. I just documented it. You're a monster." "Maybe, but at least I'm a monster with receipts." She hung up. I blocked the number. The aftermath has been quiet. Good quiet. I'm still in my apartment. Still sleeping on the bed that used to feel like enemy territory. Still using the coffee maker she said was too cheap, but works perfectly fine. I started seeing a therapist. Not couples therapy, obviously. Just regular therapy to unpack 3 years of being told I was crazy when I wasn't. It's helping. Slowly. Some friends I thought I'd lost have come back around after hearing both sides. Others have picked her team permanently. That's fine. I've learned that the people who believe one side of the story without fact-checking aren't people I need in my life anyway. Last week, I finally threw away the documentation folder. All 83 pages of it. I thought it would feel like some big, cathartic moment, but honestly, it just felt like taking out the trash. Which, symbolically, I guess it was. I'm not dating anyone. Not ready for that yet. My therapist says I need to work on trusting my own perceptions again before I can trust anyone else. She's probably right. But here's what I do know. I'm not crazy. I was never crazy. I was just with someone who needed me to believe I was. And now I'm not. Someone asked me in the comments of my last update if I regret making the folder. If I wish I'd just left without all the documentation and drama. Honestly, no. That folder saved my sanity. It proved, to myself if no one else, that I wasn't imagining things, that the manipulation was real, that I had every right to leave. Would I recommend documenting a relationship to anyone else? Only if they need to. Only if they're starting to feel like they can't trust their own memory. Only if they're being made to feel crazy by someone who benefits from them feeling that way. If that's you, start writing things down. You're not paranoid. You're protecting yourself. And sometimes that's all you can do.